Okay, so imagine you had to go on Shark Tank and give a 15 to 20-minute presentation about your freelance practice or small business. Do you guys have any idea what you would say? I didn't either until I recently gave one of these for the first time at a local networking chapter, and I think I did pretty well. Conveying confidence and delivering a longer pitch around 15 to 20 minutes is a really uncomfortable position to be in. If you guys don't know what you're going to say, then you're going to stumble out of the gate, which I did several times when I first started. But you can really set yourself apart from 90% of small businesses and make you credible in the eyes of everyone that hears you if you have a structure and framework to go by that can help you just knock it out of the park. And you guys probably realize the businesses, the freelance practices, no matter what industry you're in, that can elaborate their ideas and services very clearly are the ones that set themselves apart in your mind. You can kind of tell you're just like, yes, like this guy knows what he offers, he has confidence in it, and it's super important. So today I want to share with you guys a 6 point structure I use every time I give these talks that you can apply to any business or represent any chapter of business that you do that will make you sound confident, clear, and concise. And it's very repeatable across no matter what industry you are in. I use it personally to present my freelance web design and development services when I give these longer presentations, which I said can be uncomfortable, but it makes it easy to go by the book, but also not be super cookie cutter and not have any originality whatsoever. So I encourage you guys to write these down and come back to them to craft your own sort of Shark Tank statement, is what I call it. But I'll also be leaving a PDF to different, these six bulletproof 6 point framework that I'm going to be discussing in this podcast. And if you're listening to the podcast version, I'm going to include the audio version that I recorded for a local networking chapter here in Columbus, Ohio last week. Got great feedback on it, and it goes through all the six we talked about. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. This week's entry into the Essential Entrepreneurs reading list is The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler. And this is a great book. It's one of the newest editions. One actionable quote from this book: motivation is what gets you into this game. Learning is what helps you continue to play. Creativity is how you steer, and flow is how you turbo boost the results beyond all rational standards and reasonable expectations. If you're a hardworking business owner or entrepreneur, make sure you guys check out the Essential Reading Database for business owners and entrepreneurs, a Notion template that you can duplicate into your own dashboard with multiple books, summaries, actionable quotes, and links to buy them at the cheapest price online, offer you for free. I've read over 100 books on business, entrepreneurship, creativity, and self help, and I want to share all the lessons with you guys and get your reading habit started. So, without further ado, welcome to entry number 47 of the Creative Journal podcast, all about crafting a perfect Shark Tank pitch for your business. Here we go. Step number one is the power of a strong introduction. You want to be warm, welcome listeners, and introduce yourself. And also, I should get into this. Before step one even starts, you should have already prepared, which is what you're doing right now, so you're off on the right foot. But briefly explain the importance of, the services you offer and dive straight into it. You want to discuss the significance of what you do in a concise, impactful introduction. Really work as hard as you can. If you had to concise everything you do down to just 3 sentences, what would those three be? I know this is hard to do, but it is so important to be concise because no one's going to remember everything. The only thing people are going to remember, if they remember anything about you, is going to be the first couple minutes. So you want to make them as actionable and punchy as possible. If you're independent, lean on the names of some of your past clients and speak about them like they are established companies. And really lean on that, especially if you're new. Talk about your case studies. And as you're going out through this whole thing, one of the most important things that you need to have is not just confidence, because I don't love that, approach, because you don't want to put on a facade, but just enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is a great thing that people can sense. And if you love what you do and you're passionate about the product, the service that you provide to other people, this will come off as very authentic and it is very effective. So if you're independent, lean on the names of your past clients, be supportive of them, give credit to how long you've been doing this. Spend a lot of time crafting those first 3 sentences and try and, if you can, even condense this into one sentence. You want to start off really powerful. So mine was, I make agency quality websites and marketing more accessible and less confusing for hardworking businesses. That is a long sentence, but like I said, if you had to condense it down, what is the 80/20 of everything you do? and lead with that out of the gate. Be strong, practice saying that sentence, and be confident. So that was bulletproof framework step number one. Step number two, right after the strong introduction, you move straight into showcasing your services. So now they know who you are, got to tell them what you do. And again, lean on brevity, lean on concision, and then you can expand as you go outwards. So your approach should be you go in for the kill shot right at the beginning, and because you have a longer time to kind of elaborate your services, elaborate everything you do, then you can expand on them, and if people have questions, then you can, zoom out. But we're starting hot, heavy, strong, straight to the bullet. Straight, we're going straight for the throat. So showcasing your services, again, show enthusiasm. You want to know the importance of and the importance of having your services, and also highlight the negatives of not having them, and try and point out some examples of where people like common folks can slot you in. So you want to create some association. So for example, one of the things I said was, when it comes to referrals, you probably all know someone that you saw their website online and it was just looked horrible, it was atrocious, but then you actually met them in person, and it turns out the quality of their services far outpaces the quality of their online branding. That would be a great referral for me. So it's kind of creating that empathy, and showcasing the need for your services and the detriment that it can cause if you don't have them. Um, Highlight some of your unique or lesser known offerings. If you're happening to do a promotion during that time span, it's a good thing to mention this in the beginning too, because it can create association with those services and also stay top of mind. Because if any of the people in the audience are want to be clients or customers, it's something that they can bring up to you afterwards. So that's framework step number two. Number three, right after you go in, give a strong, powerful introduction. You give those three powerful sentences. They now know who you are. Now they know what you do because you emphasize the importance of them. You move into branding, your competitive edge. How do you make yourself sound good and get people excited about what you do? What sets you apart? You want to discuss the importance of differentiation, how you identify and articulate each unique selling point, and examples of effective branding statements that are unique to you. So for mine specifically, I segment my you want to have a sort of memorable framework that your services kind of fit into. And I know it's hard as you go through this, but it's a longer talk, so we have time to expand beyond our elevator pitch, but we want to still get the most out of every single word and also not stress in the process. I know this is a very vulnerable position to be in, and you want to make sure that you do yourself justice because you guys work hard. Small business owners work really hard, and you want to do yourself justice. So for me personally, I kind of wanted to create that empathy with how people can make the associations with what I do. So personally, I have build, nurture, and growth services. And if you can have a simple framework for how you serve people, then people can kind of slot them in at from the outset. So rather than having to, it's okay to mention your target audience when you're talking about referrals, but when it's in the sense of giving a pitch like this, you don't want to alienate anyone and say like, okay, we only work with these people. So when it comes to branding and giving your competitive edge, discuss the people that you like to work with, but package up your services and your offering and the advantages of it very clearly. So, for example, like I said, we have build, nurture, and grow services, and each of our individual services kind of fit into those stages of business. So, for example, a build service would be a logo design and branding. A growth service might be setting up social media accounts or doing a site audit. And then a growth service would be SEO, um, research, ongoing advertisements, running online ads, some of the more advanced stuff that your business needs to advertise. So you kind of have different services to meet everyone at their stage of business. So you're not weeding anybody out. So that was three of six. On to number four. After people know who you are, they know what you do, you showcases your enthusiasm, you're being enthusiastic, and you've branded yourself, they know why they should work with you specifically and what sets you apart. You move on to understanding your client base, and this is the ABC approach, and I really love this because it just makes it so easy for people to think of you and slot themselves in, slot in some referrals for you. So you want to explain the concept of categorizing clients using A, B, or C referrals. And a pro tip when you're giving A, B, or C referrals is to start with C and work yourself up to A. So, for example, a C referral would be someone that's um, sort of the I'll take it category. A B referral would be a good client, someone that you'd be excited to work with. And an A referral is just your ITC straight out the gap, straight out the cave. You know exactly who that is. You tailor your marketing message to this person specifically. This is the person that you built the business for. This is the person that gets you excited to serve, and this is just a home run for you. And you want to make sure you hold that high standard as far as who a referral is. So, and you also want to mention as you pitch yourself how you turn your strategies for turning B clients into C clients and C clients into B clients. So, what would make those maybe not so good referrals turn into people that would be better fit for your services? Give specific examples and scenarios of things that these people say. So, if the people that are listening to your Shark Tank pitch hear this language, then it's putting them on alert for, okay, they're gonna make that association that, okay, this is the lead for Andy. This is what I need to look out for when I'm looking for referrals. Or if they just happen to see it. Again, it's creating this visibility and association within everybody's mind so that when the right time comes, then they think of you. And that's really all you can do when it comes to being more visible and growing your, whether it's a solo business or your enterprise in any way, especially when it comes to giving these talks. You want to get the most out of it that you possibly can. So an example that I gave for a C client would be someone who just started a business and needs online branding. Maybe they don't know how to get started, they don't know what a logo looks good, they're just not a creative person, they don't have any moxie for this, but at the same time they also see the value in it because that's very important. A B referral would be someone that is an established business and the quality of the services they offer is outpaced by the quality of the services they offer is not matched by the quality of their branding online. So they kind of push their branding to the back burner. They see the value in good logo design. Maybe they DIY'd their website, they DIY'd their logo, and they kind of realized it was always bad the whole time, and then they kind of is an inside joke at this point, maybe something like that. But now they're at, okay, we have the funds to allocate, rebranding, getting on a consistent visual direction moving forward. And an A referral is someone that would just a home run, knock out of the park, and this is where you start to niche down more into like demographics rather than a generic description. So you might say a 20 to 35-year-old entrepreneur who's starting a tech company who is ambitious and has a large budget to spend on branding, design, visuals, etc. That would be an example of a C, B, and consequently an A referral. So that is step 5. And just to highlight up to this point, we started number 1 is the strong introduction, a concise, impactful introduction where you talk about your name, your past clients, the services you offer in a very broad sense, and you come out of the cave strong with 3 very powerful sentences. Number 2, you showcase your services. You are enthusiastic about what you do and how they help people. You maybe even gave case studies on some of your past clients and how, maybe even mentioning some stats on how much it helped them. Number 3, now that they know who you are, now that they know what you talk about what sets you apart from other people that also are like you and do what you do. Yeah, you give your competitive edge, your advantage, and you make yourself sound good and you get excited. Number 4 is understanding your client base. So you have the A, B, C approach to getting clients that we just talked about. And on to number 5, which is a very important and often overlooked piece. Step 5 of the Bulletproof framework is creating a memorable hook. So you want to again, you have so little time to do this, and we're starting broad and we're niching out as we go. So the importance of a memorable hook is that it leaves a lasting impression. Um, it's a memorable statement or tagline, and it ensures that your audience members remember one key thing about your business. This would be a great place after people know everything about you, the services you offer, your backstory a little bit to slot in this hook that is powerful. And a great thing to slot in here would be a case study. So, for example, in mine, um, I told the story about how um, like the benefits of, and I'll give an example for another industry. Say, if you do web design, maybe you want to see the advantages of, you want people to understand the advantages of a web maintenance plan. Maybe they have the preconceived notion that, okay, a website is a one and done product. You don't need to have some kind of a maintenance plan. But then a memorable hook that maybe disproves this past fallacy would be, my friend Steve Schramm has this pastor porn story where he built a website for a church. They weren't on a maintenance plan, basically handed over the keys to the website to the church. Long story short, they let the domain go awry and the website got hacked, and people were going to the website looking for this church and they landed on a porn site. So, in that case, that's not just memorable, but it also proves your point as to why the web membership is important. So stuff like that, um, it proves your point, but it also is memorable. Those are really powerful. Storytelling in general is very powerful. Again, this is something that I could have done better in this talk, something I'm always working on, is how do you implement storytelling to create the sense of community in your audience? And people love listening to stories. Like that's something we've been doing since the beginning of our species is telling and listening to stories. And the more of these anecdotes, stories, especially bonus points if they're funny, that people can latch onto, is the more effective you're going to be when you're presenting. So those are steps 1 through 5. Step 6, we're going to keep this brief, is engaging your audience. So Q&A. And this is something that, and this is a very flexible sort of thing. I just ended in a very simple way. I said, okay, any questions? And that's kind of an abrupt end. I wouldn't recommend going straight into that, but you can end with a tagline saying, okay, so that's a little bit about me. It was great to get to know you guys. Now you know what I do, how I help people, and the services I offer. Always appreciate referrals. Always appreciate staying top of mind. And even if you have anyone, and this is a good place where you kind of scale it back down to make people think like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll take that action. So you could even say, I think I said like, even if you don't need a website, we're always happy to offer consultations for DIY tools, how you can get online, how you can improve your marketing using the 80/20 approach. Some of the 80% of things, or the 20% of things you can do that will get 80% of the results. And where we happily recommend DIY tools for you to get started. So if you have any questions about branding, design, anything like that, we're happy to be a resource for you. Offer yourself as a resource for them, and make it compelling. The more confident you can be and the more clearly you elaborate your services throughout, the more people are going to want to take that first step to reach out to you. So make it easy for people to do that. Make sure you have maybe cards, presentation material on hand. And that's a great way. You want to always engage the audience at the end to maybe you want to make it interactive. And if you missed anything, most of the time people will be, happy to ask questions. And by the way, if people ask questions, it's generally a very good sign. Shows they're paying attention. It's good etiquette. Gives them a chance to, even like a lot of the questions you'll see will just be to help, that they're trying to help you and make you look better. That's how business owners should be. You should try and lift each other up, sort of set that tee for success, so that they can knock it out of the park. But and if there are genuine questions, like I said, it's important that you do your research and you can broadcast when these might come up and have a strategy for answering them. Just go into it prepared, and you guys are gonna be fine. So I also have some bonus tips that really helped me when I was preparing for this talk, and what I'll also do for many in the future to improve upon them. Because, like I said, always trying to get better at marketing and conveying my message, my sales offering. Bonus is, and I kind of did this a little bit, but I didn't really execute it all the way, is to have an inside joke saved for the very beginning so that it really just kills the presentation mindset and it makes it a lot more interactive, cuts the tension, makes it so much easier. Um, Especially it's helpful if it's like a jab or if it's some kind of sarcastic comment towards maybe another group member who is popular that's been there a while. so that directs blame onto someone else. So if someone has like for example, for mine, I said, yeah, I want to thank Mike for giving me the framework for this talk. It was really helpful. Any compliments, anything good that comes out of this speech, you can just redirect all compliments to Mike. You can also do the inverse of that. So I might say, yeah, it was really Mike that helped me out with this presentation. I know it's my first time, so anything that went wrong, it's basically Mike's fault and not mine. So redirect all negativity towards Mike for the remainder of this talk, please, and thank you. Something like that is a good, low stakes way to sort of redirect pressure, and it's a really good hack for cutting through the tension, especially if you're nervous, because I was definitely really nervous when I gave mine. But another bonus tip is to have something to hand out at the beginning so that people aren't just staring at you. And this is a big one. So I went kind of overboard on this. I really went graphic designery with the illustrations of the services and the brand roadmap and talking about the podcast and introducing myself. And that's another bonus too, is when you're talking about yourself, don't be afraid to be transparent. People want to know who's associated with the business, but at the same time, you don't want to go overboard with that too. So, like I talked about the podcast, talked about how long I'd been doing this. I talked about my family. People buy from people, so that's important to remember too. But also not balancing that to the point where it makes you look small to that extent. Um, and it's okay if you mess up. Like this is a big thing. I said you guys will even hear in the talk we're getting ready to play now. Um, Instead of snake oil, like I was talking about how some SEO salesmen can be sketchy. I said, yeah, which the right term would be they're trying to sell snake oil. I said, yeah, SEO salesmen, they can kind of be like they're selling fish oil. So I really fumbled the bag on that one, but it ended up being funny. Thank God. Shout out to Ryan Conway for pointing that out and not making me feel like an idiot. But and it ended up being okay. But stuff like that's going to happen, especially if you're new to this and you're putting yourself out there. So if you kind of recognize from the beginning that, those things happen and you take it all in stride and embrace it. And I was really thinking of myself beforehand. I was like, man, I was really nervous, but it's like, that stimulation that should be something that you crave. Um, and again, it's always the default path to lean away from discomfort. But um, if you really lean into it, then afterwards you feel so much better, and you won't be scared by it in the future. Because if you're a business owner, if you're a freelancer, whether you're solo or if you have a team or if you're just getting started, no matter what industry you're in, you're gonna have to talk about what you do. And if you're someone that can't handle the pressure of elaborating what you do and doing it clearly, then that's a good sign that you need to work on it. So that's why I put together this podcast, this framework that really helped me. And I hope it helps you as much as it did for me. A few more bonuses before we move on to the live demonstration is to inject as much storytelling as possible. And I kind of mentioned this briefly, but the more people can create resonance with you as a business owner, a lot of times all of us have some kind of an entrepreneurial side, whether it's you own your own business or you're just doing it for yourself. Everyone kind of has this side of themselves. So if you can really lean into that and create some kind of resonance, especially if you're pitching to a panel like a networking group, then people can generally relate with that. So try and create resonance in any way that you can possible. Um, Depending on your scenario, it could be good to thank the audience and for being welcoming or even joke about it. So this was something that I did is after you finish, you're nervous, but you're done now. Say, thank you guys for letting me present today. I look forward to getting to know you better and growing as a business owner. Thank you for not booing me out of the room, and I look forward to growing with you guys. Something like that. Usually it does a good job of cutting the tension and opens the floor before you can transition into a Q&A. So that right there, my friends, is the 6-point bulletproof framework for creating a winning presentation. Again, a longer presentation. These can usually take you about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how much content you have ready. Mine actually went a little bit over that. I went almost 25 minutes, but I was feeling good. I went in prepared. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of this framework. I hope you guys took notes. We'll summarize it up one more time. One is a strong introduction, really nail in those three main sentences and come out of the cave strong. Number two is to showcase your services and put them into buckets so people can create that association with them. Number three is branding. So after people know who you are and what you do, what sets you apart from other people that do what you do. Number four is to understand your client base using the ABC approach. So tier your referrals so that people can identify these and make it really easy. Give specific scenarios and things that these people say so that people can be on the lookout for these. So that's very powerful as well. Number five is to create that memorable hook. Tell that interesting story. Tell something that, is going to leave an impression. You want to save that right hook for near the end. And number six, finally, is to engage your audience to use a Q&A and clarify, reinforce your message through storytelling. And don't forget those bonus tips of having an inside joke ready and going slow, being honest, and injecting storytelling as much as possible. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you guys the audio transcription of the most recent one of these talks that I gave at Amp Spirit in Dublin, Ohio. I use this exact same framework to craft this presentation, and I got a lot of compliments afterwards on my presentation skills and brevity, and it went very, very well. So I wanted to share this with you guys to kind of give a real life demonstration of the framework I just talked about and how you can use it, and let me know what you guys think. I hope this helps. I'll see you on the other side.
I will turn the meeting over to Thad so he can introduce our speaker today.
Okay, our speaker today is our newest member, Andy Milligan. He is the owner-founder of MMG Design, and we will let him, we'll collect like a bio sheet from you for next time, but we'll let you fill in the details here. Tell us about yourself and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I got some paper. I want to first of all thank Mike too. He sent me kind of the framework that we usually do for the first orientation sort of talk. So if anything good that comes out of this talk, you can credit Mike for. So,
or anything bad, Blake.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick pretty tried and true to the to that like formula. So I kind of laid out each section of it with a piece of paper, and also a little bit of bio on me, painfully enough, so that you guys can get to know me a little bit. But I thought for the first talk, it would be mostly informing you guys about me, my story, and the business, so you guys can kind of know what I do and how I service people. And then as we get into it, then I can start to share more case studies and stories and so forth as we go on. Cool, yeah. So for those of you who don't know me, I think most of you know now, Keegan and I actually went to college together, so it's kind of close to you here. But I actually worked in the weight room where he played basketball, so I was the guy like cheering him on while he was doing all the hard work. But yeah, so if you guys don't know me, my name is Andy Milligan. I'm the owner and founder of MMG Design. I actually live out in Marysville, but this is the closest chapter and my favorite too. So kudos to you guys. But yeah. But I make agency quality websites and marketing more accessible and less confusing for business owners. That's kind of my main offering. I've been in business for the last 3 years, but an official LLC for about the last year or so. I actually got my email yesterday from my Zen business account that I got my LLC a year ago last week. So that's kind of cool. But I also want to apologize too, because if there's any typos in this, I made this yesterday. And my copywriter took the day off, so there might be a few typos in here. But in that time, I've served Union County Economic Development, Ohio Small Business Development Centers, University of Findlay, Rudis in Marysville, Ohio, HPlex Solutions in Powell, Ohio, and I've done various marketing and design services, there's a typo, for 26 other small businesses kind of here and all around my hometown. I've also been, quick shout out, I've been running my podcast, The Creative Journal, for a year as of next month, and it's kind of been my main marketing asset, and it's kind of the thing I'm most proud of. It's really grown me as a speaker and a business owner, and it's kind of taught me the how to communicate with others and see needs and values. It's also just a great kind of marketing asset, and I'm really proud of that. So now that we've gone through the painful part of having to get you guys to know me, you can talk about the business now. So services. What services does your business offer? Pretty much word for word from the template. But I tailor design and marketing services around 3 main stages of business. Build, nurture, and grow, to kind of meet businesses where they are at and where they need branding and design. So to give you guys an idea, building is startups or existing enterprises who need branding services or more visual design to clarify their presence to match their services and their offering. Nurturing services are kind of establishing marketing channels that will get the most out of their efforts, and it's really bringing the branding to life and how that scales throughout the life of the business. And growth services are leveraging the marketing channels and educating you on how to build your presence through posting, organic reach, depending on the industry, usually entails all these services that they're listed there. And I kind of laid it out in a bit of a hierarchy here so you can see from a young to an established business where their services usually fall in the stage of business that they're in. And then our main service is web design and development. So depending on the business, the industry, that can usually occur at any phase. So say for an example, like an e-commerce store, they usually need a website front and center because that's their main marketing channel. That's where they sell product. Whereas maybe like a solo consultant or a freelancer, they probably don't need a website right in the beginning because most of their business comes through social media channels, and it's really just about optimizing those and leveraging those as much as they can. And if they do need a website, it could be something that they could DIY themselves. So kind of getting on the same page with the business, the industry, and then educating on where these services fit in and what's most important at that phase. So moving on, our differentiators. So my main differentiator is that I'm a very lean team. I do 90% of the work, and I do work a lot, but I do have 2 contractors that I've sent more advanced or less advanced projects to. So I have a graphic designer here locally, and I also have a web developer that's very remote, so I think he's in Nevada right now. And I can consult him with some more complex coding issues. And I also have, I was just telling Bob, as of yesterday, I have my first full-time intern through a tech internship program here in Ohio. So he's going to be helping me a lot with some of the manual stuff. He's also very smart. So I do have team members, but because I don't have the bullet of a large agency, I can build sites at no upfront cost to the customer, meaning that I'm leaning into my skill set of being able to develop websites very quickly and also very performantly. And after a month, if they're not sold on the product and how professional it makes the business look and gets some leads, then we can take it down and they're not out anything. Something I really optimize for is I work with people who see websites as an investment and a marketing asset. So you only pay for your website as long as it is active, and you can have as much access to it as you want during that time span. I'm happy to recommend, in fact, I often do DIY website tools, builders, and any way that you can help grow your business at any phase. Because I'm all for people getting online and marketing their business to the way that's most effective for their industry and the services they offer. And that doesn't always look like a custom website. So if from the beginning, and I've kind of learned this through trial and error, is that the business owner feels like they're not really sold on the concept of having a custom website, then I'm all for recommending DIY tools. And an analogy I often use kind of when I'm educating on websites and online marketing is that a DIY website like a Wix or Squarespace or something, one of those tools you guys have probably heard of before, is that they're more like a digital business card, whereas a custom website is more like a digital salesperson. So like if you think about it, a digital business card is very non-confrontational. It's contact information. It's a non-pushy way to let people know about you, and you're not very top of mind, but they can reach out to you if they have your information, basically. And a digital salesperson is someone that can tailor a content message. It's more diverse. It can drive to meet your customers where they're at. It can make it a more custom sales message, and it can also retain information, and it's much more depth and less breadth. So I'm happy to recommend, and I always often do DIY tools to help you grow your business each step of the way. Our pricing model is a monthly retainer with nuance for extended commitments and benefits for extended commitments. So you can sign for 3 months, 6 months, or 18 months, or the more that you pay ahead of time, then the less it costs you up front. Usually for websites, ads, hosting, etc., they come with a lot of software fees, so it's much easier to bake that into one single monthly price rather than having to upcharge you for hosting, domains, ongoing fees that come with a lot of the softwares that we use.
So you're saying that's included in the fee that you
Yes.
charge?
Yep. And our advantages with this model, and I have tried a lot of different ones. I used to charge upfront for a website like an agency would, and it's so hard to convince business owners to see the value in paying $1,000 upfront for a website when they don't see the benefit of it right away and it takes time to develop. So develop upfront. I'm all about delivering value out of the gate for free as much as I can, and that's never served me wrong. And that's one of my biggest founding principles as I built the company. So most agencies, this is why our advantages are here. Most agencies build a complex website and they will hand off the keys to a stressed and overworked business owner who now has no idea what to do with it. If they want to make a change, say they add a team member. Most changes to your website are very small. But if you don't know how to use it, or you don't know how to, and you're scared to go in on the back end and make a small change, like you add a team member, or you extend your services, or you just have updated photography, or you change your branding, then even those small changes, then they're scared to do it, and they can mess things up. And if you're scared to do it, you're not going to want to. So that's why a lot of the websites you guys probably see go out of date. They look like they were built in the 90s, and maybe the founder has a totally different hair color now. All these things. So that's why with the
real estate headshots never change.
Right, yeah. But yeah, that's why the monthly model works, because every client has a dashboard where they can submit requests to have updates and changes. And there's also an editor mode on each site, which I provide training on. So they're free to make some of the more basic rudimentary changes, but if they want more custom additions, like adding on entirely new pages or new sections, new layouts, new type, everything like that, they can just put in a request for it. And like I said, most updates are small, so it reduces the friction of having to bill hourly for something that's super small that won't take me that long. But it also makes sure that it gets taken care of and it's up to date. And that's like I said, most agencies that charge way up front, and they're charging you every step of the way from the consultation call to the account manager who's communicating with designers and developers, and you're just paying for every step of that. And meanwhile, as they're developing your website and your marketing channel over several months, in that time, you're not getting online, you're not getting any leads from your website, and it's just a big delay between the time where you invest and you see the actual rewards from it. So I work very quickly. I like to think I'm very good at what I do, and that's the advantage that I have, working more intimately with. Yeah, but
What would you say is a timeline from when you first talk with a business owner to their website's up and running?
Yeah, so in the first meeting, I haven't kind of laid out on the website the exact steps, but the first meeting is basically industry, and I can basically tell after one meeting what the scope of your site is based on how big your team is, the credibility of your business, how long you've been in business, the services you offer, whether it's an e-commerce site or just a basic consultant who has less than 5 employees. Usually just basically a services page, a home page, getting to know each step of if you have a process in your sales process or that you want to advertise on your website. I can develop a website usually in 2 to 4 weeks, and then you don't pay for it until a month afterwards. And then from 1 month after it going live, if you're not happy with it, then you don't have to pay to maintain it. But as long as you pay the monthly fee, then it is maintained and it's live, and you can take it down. You can re-up it anytime you want to go back live again. So that's why I not only make an account, offer training on how to use the editor mode of the website to make rudimentary changes, but the monthly model allows to request for small changes without having to bill hourly or anything like that. Each customer has a portal, direct access to me, and website updates and requests are always addressed within 24 hours. So if you guys have a phone, there's some QR codes of our recent projects and testimonials and so forth. So next is recite your ABCs. Again, stolen straight from the Mike Roman template they sent me. So an A referral is an established business with 10 to 50 employees, not exactly that range, but who is not satisfied with the results from their marketing agency, whether it be customer service results or poor design, and is ready to go in a new direction. A B referral, bonus if it looks like that girl on there, but a business who has DIY'd their website and has scaled to a point where the quality of their branding or website no longer matches the quality of the services they're offering or their reputation. We all know the person or business that we kind of vetted online. We saw like, oh man, like they don't look very good. Like their website doesn't look good. They don't look very professional. But then like you go and meet these people and they say like, oh, like we're actually crushing it. We have so many more team members. We're doing a lot of running right now. And you're like, wow, like they're actually legit. So someone like that, who's like their online branding is like far lagging behind their actual business success. And a C referral is someone who started a business or side hustle and needs visual branding, does not know where to start in marketing the business online. So that would be more of like a consult, like how they would establish get started on the social media channels, educating them on where their customers are living and what the right strategies would be for marketing their business, and on the basics of the visual side to logos, design, and what would communicate with their audience most effectively. And so moving on, where does your business come from? I drink my own Kool-Aid, meaning I do what I tell people to do when it comes to marketing their business. Main source is referrals, which is repeat clients and word of mouth. Number 2 is on LinkedIn and other social media content. I am big on marketing, the business and sharing projects, sharing work. I spend at least 2 hours a day, whether it's online or doing some kind of marketing for the business. I do a newsletter. I post every day on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'm very conscious about connecting with at least 5 new people every day that I've either met or that have come into my recommended. Number 3 is networking, which is chambers of commerce like Columbus, Marysville, and other networking groups. Columbus Young Professionals, another. And number 4 is organic, so SEO through the newsletter, blogs, content, and email as well. Moving on.
Blogs are, you have a link on your website?
Yeah, so I double like the newsletter and the blog. So the newsletter basically is something I'll post on Sundays via the mailing list, and then on Wednesdays to LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, I would recommend everyone start like in a LinkedIn newsletter if you have your own business, because it actually reaches your LinkedIn followers to their email, to their inbox. So if people follow you on LinkedIn, it's a good way to get in their inbox, and it's a good way to start collecting a more warmer audience. But then for the blogs, I usually repurpose the topics, and then I optimize them like for keywords that people might be searching for my services. Which is something that I help clients with too, is that if you have any type of content, what are your customers like searching for? And then there's a lot of tools you can use to like repurpose the wording so that it targets the keywords that like your customers might be searching, and then optimizing for that in the titles and the meta and everything like that too, so that it's more effective. And then obviously having like on-page SEO too, so that people can reach you from the blog post that they land on. But yeah, the last thing in the Roman template was something memorable, things that members should remember about your business, and that is the use of AI tools. So something that past clients I've seen, and like as I go through owning the business and I talk to more people and I see what's of higher value, is that they really value, a lot of them, and I think, the right people that I like to work with are progressive, growth-minded businesses, is the use of AI tools. So helping clients get ahead of their competitors with AI implementations, whether it's in their social media and their marketing. And honestly, too, like it's a really good value add, because I have a whole database of like tools I've used in the past for myself and my own business, but for other clients in various industries, whether it's in their marketing, their social media, just writing, general business workflows, accounting, finance, management, like all these different areas. And so I'm very transparent about the use of that, and I always try and before having more of an in-depth call, like suggesting some of these tools that might be more useful for their business and their workflow, and kind of where those fit in and add the pieces. So I have a library of tools that I recommend all the time. I categorize these by price, industry, whether they have a free trial plan, niche, and relevance to your industry and your needs. And I like working with innovative business owners who are eager to learn as much from me as I am from them. And the last thing is the thing I really optimize for is brand roadmap strategy calls. So this is a free call, and it kind of fits in with my underlying value of foot in the door, offer as much value up front for free as possible. And the reason I say that is because that has never served me wrong. 100% of the time when I have people book a brand roadmap strategy call, it's just me going in. I usually like to book these a week out in advance. So like I do a ton of research on their business, how long they've been in, everything they have online, basically a full audit. And I basically put together just like a marketing plan, and I just present it to them. Like, these are all your existing marketing channels. These are the ones I would recommend for your industry, for your service level, for the amount of clients you have, for the amount of team members you have. And these are how all these marketing assets fit into that plan. So where does your website fit into this? Is it important? Is it something that you can DIY? Is it something that you would benefit from a more custom build? Do you need blog posts? Do you need to run Google ads, Facebook ads? And where does that fit in at your stage of business? When it comes to branding, we answer the questions like, is my logo, colors, and visual assets relevant to my target customer? What is portrayed when people are thinking of me when they see my brand? Is my branding important? Is branding even important for my business in this stage? And then when it comes to the website side of things, do I even need a website? What are hosting, domains, and SEO? Basically educating on what these things are and making them less scary, because there's so much, there's a lot of like fish oil salesmen, or snake oil, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. That was a big one. Snake oil salesman, thank you. Out there that sell like SEO and like, okay, we're going to get you ranking #1 on Google. And I'm very transparent about the fact that anyone that says that run away from, because that is very hard to do. And a lot of it is outside of your control. So I kind of make the comparison to, it's like target practice. So you can set the scope, you can measure the win conditions, and you can set the conditions for success using the variables that you can't control. And then based on a lot of stuff outside of your control, like backlinks, like getting credible sources to link back to your site, what trending search volumes are high for that week, which is, again, do stuff that's outside of your control. But basically talking you through the process of how we find those keywords and how they can be effective for you. And then how to make a website less confusing, more effective, like I said, and what are the main calls to action that your business model should optimize for. And that's different for each industry. So if it's like a salon or a barbershop, you want to optimize for bookings. If it's a information product or a digital product, you want to optimize for free trials or email signups. So it looks different for every industry. And how do you design the website while with getting people to lead them to that call to action effectively? And when it comes to social media and marketing, what channels, if any, should you be active on? And this is different for every industry. A lot of people will be very active on one social media channel just to realize that none of their customers or their ITC is active on that channel too. But because it's what the platform that they like, they spend the most time on there. So it's kind of leveraging the platforms that you like to spend time on, because if you don't like to spend time on a platform, you're not going to do it. So kind of finding that happy middle ground, what types of content you should be posting for each platform, and what your unique advantage is in marketing and branding, and how do you lean into that. So, a lot of these brands they lean very heavy into the brand side of things to take care of their marketing, and there's other ones that are very business-minded approach, like we're going to send X amount of emails and in this sequence, and it's very targeted. So kind of finding that happy middle ground that reflects, your core values as a business owner, and making that come to life. So I thought that was kind of like informative and really kind of by the book, but I was a little nervous kind of going into it, so I wanted to kind of stick to the book version. And do you guys have any questions? I'd love to
Yeah,
answer
I'm
too.
just wondering about, do you help customers or clients develop personas for their target markets?
Yeah.
Do you do that?
Yeah, that's usually kind of in the something I would talk about like in the brand strategy call. So that would, like their ideal target customer, where they live, what actions they're taking, and how to reach them.
And you mentioned ugly design. One of my classes, I used to have an assignment to come up with, each student had to come up with a good, bad, and ugly design of a website. What are typically the ugly things you see when you look at a potential client's website?
Mm-hmm.
What do you?
So relevance. So like I'd say if it's outdated, you can usually tell by stuff like the padding and margins, and performance too. So if it's slow loading, and I mean you can really tell like I have a lot of Chrome extensions and tools that I've used, so I can like tell like when the website was made, when's the last time it's been updated, and what platform it was built on, and so forth. So I can kind of tell on the back end. But you can also just tell like mobile optimization is so big because like 70% of online viewership right now is through phones. So you can tell right away. I have like a Chrome extension where you can resize the browser to all different aspect ratios. And if it's not snapping to every single one, then you know right away that it was either built a long time ago or it was built by a developer who doesn't understand the box model. So those are things I look out for too. Like I said, if it's out of date, if it's the big tell is if you look in the footer and the year is not the current year, that's a pretty dead giveaway. If the team members on their pages are outdated, if the services are outdated, it's really a lot of it is just staying fresh and staying like making sure that when people go to your site, it actually looks like it's been taken care of. And a lot of that is through like dynamic content too. So if you have a blog, if you look on the blog page or on the home page, if you have a preview to it, and there's a blog that was. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's entry of the Creative Journal podcast. This is entry number 47. Please leave a 5-star review on any platform you're listening to. We're going to keep on delivering awesome guests and information and insights into the creative journey to help you grow your business and become the best freelancer, small business owner, or entrepreneur that you can possibly be. We'll see you guys next week.